Geothermal energy. Yeah. Can you see the slides? So what do you understand by the term geothermal? So it is the natural heat within the earth. So it is arising from the ancient heat which was already there within the earth's cores, and also from friction where continental plates slide over one another. So not only this friction of continental plates sliding over one another, but radioactive decay also contributes to the heat which is present inside the earth. So geothermal energy is the energy which is produced from the rocks which are present inside the earth. So you may be knowing that the earth's core is molten. So there is a lot of heat, so which is coming from radioactive decay, then also from the friction. And it is said that just 1% of the heat contained in the uppermost 10 kilometer of earth's crust is equivalent to 500 times the energy contained in all of the earth's oil and natural resources. So this enormous energy is there hidden in the earth's core. But we have a limitation with this. And what is that? It is difficult to extract. So geothermal energy is not likely to compete with wind, hydropower or solar energy, because it is not that easy to harness or extract. So we can just utilize this earth's energy through natural geysers. So now next I am going to discuss how these natural geysers are formed. So we say that geothermal energy is mostly associated with volcanism. So what happens is areas of geologically recent volcanisms contain large underground heat reservoirs. So large heat reservoirs are present, and when the groundwater trickles down to these heat reservoirs, it becomes buoyant and it rises. So when it rises, naturally it will become trapped in the impermeable layers in the earth crust. So upon trapping, it forms a hydrothermal reservoir. So now this hydrothermal reservoirs, they contain hot water and possibly steam. So this is again depending upon the temperature and pressure of the water which is present. So either it may be present as a hot water or it may be present as steam. So now some of this hot water may escape to the surface, and this escaping of hot water to the surface actually creates hot springs or geysers. So we know that we have been using these hot springs or geysers since time immemorial, and we have been using them for bathing, cooking and heating buildings. So all these purposes, these natural geysers are being used, and in India we can see that they are readily in Manikaran, in Kullu. So all these places we can see the presence of these natural geysers. So these are nothing but just the hot water which is trapped in Earth's impermeable layers. And when it comes to the crust, then it becomes a natural geyser. So we get automatically heated water from the ground, and we can use this water for cooking, or maybe we can utilize this hot water for other purposes. So is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So we can also drill out holes and take out this hot water, and then we can use this hot water or steam to rotate the turbine to produce electricity. So this is how geothermal energy is harnessed. So in the next slide, or in this slide, I am going to show you this diagram. So this is a geothermal energy power plant. So you can see that from the holes which are from the wells which are dug, the hot water is taken up, and then this hot water is utilized to rotate the turbine. So majorly the steam, and then this steam is condensed again to produce water, and then again the turbine is rotated. So every time when the turbine is rotated, there is generation of electricity. Okay, so
Yes,
just you are
ma'am.
harnessing earth's energy to heat the water, and then
Generate
rotation
electricity.
of the turbine. So you can also put up geothermal pumps in the buildings. So it is practiced in the United States. So you have various inlets and outlets and loops of pipes. So which is working opposite to the season. So in summer, what will happen? These pipes will carry cold water, and eventually the cold water will reach to the building. Whereas in winters, these pipes will carry the hot water, and you will have the availability of hot water in the building. So this is just recirculation of water and its cooling as per the temperature of the earth. So it is a very efficient system of cooling water without wasting any conventional source of energy on it. So you are just dependent upon the nature's energy. Clear?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
So
ma'am.
coming to the advantages of geothermal energy. So obviously it is a very good renewable resource of energy. So you have to just reuse it again and again, and it is readily available. And it is again, like all the other renewable resources, a very clean source of energy. So, and also the heat which is coming from earth is extremely powerful. So it is a very good source of energy. So these are the major advantages, and the disadvantages, the most important disadvantage here would be that it is not easy to extract this energy. So you cannot harness it that easily, like you are harnessing the sun's energy, or like you are harnessing wind energy. You have to find out spots where there are natural geysers, and then only you can harness it. And you have to obviously set up power plants, and these require capital. So this is another disadvantage. So you have to drill the land, then it will also put a pressure on land resources. So with this, we have completed the renewable resources of energy. So we have discussed sun, we have discussed wind, we have discussed water, then we have discussed the ocean energy, then we have discussed geothermal and energy from hydrogen. So these are all the parts of renewable energy. Now coming to the non-renewable energy resources. So these are what? These are the conventional energy resources. So what would be the first resource in this?
Fossil
Excuse me,
fuels.
ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, if we are asked to say that which is the best of among the means the renewable sources of energy, so we will take which name means solar, wind, water, or
Solar.
geothermal. Which is the best?
Solar. See, according to me, it is solar.
And ma'am, if we have to write two, then solar and
Then second one, you can take water. So water is also being practiced from a lot of years.
Ma'am, why water is second one?
it could be wind
So
also, I guess.
it could be wind also, but to harness wind energy, you have a limitation. You have to have 15
Yes, ma'am.
kilometer per hour capacity of wind. This velocity of wind you require.
But why we are
Ma'am,
saying
but
solar is
fuel,
superior than hydro?
Solar energy, now you have tremendous harvesting options, and solar energy is much more abundant than water.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am,
And
one more thing.
although water is 70% of Earth's surface, but still we have problems with water because most of it is saline. So saline water will again increase the cost of repair and maintenance of the plants. So that is one disadvantage with water.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, the most important thing is that, ma'am, the aquatic environment will
You
be
are not
harnessed.
audible.
Excuse me, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Ma'am, hydroelectricity is not that good. Just because aquatic environment will be affected, na.
Yeah, to harness to generate electricity from water, you will have to build dams. So that is
And ma'am,
again putting a pressure on the
also,
ecosystems.
like to produce hydroelectric power, the water should be falling from a height for it to have enough potential energy, right? To like turn the
Exactly.
turbines.
It is
So
again,
that would also like destroy the ecosystem of the mountains and stuff, and also the downstream areas where people usually get the water from those dams. Like those areas also get shortage of water after building those dams for producing hydroelectric power.
yeah, water is
Yes,
already very
ma'am.
short we see as a resource. So I
Yes,
think the
ma'am.
best
India
Example
has,
is
solution
ma'am.
Tiri Dam.
is sun's energy.
India has lost 80% of species in the Himalayas just because of the buildings of dams over there.
Yeah,
And
dam
ma'am, in
Tiri
India,
construction.
Dam.
the most used non conventional source of energy is solar, and then there comes the wind energy, because like windmills are
But
built on
wind
these
wind
expansive
is
lands and
highly
stuff.
dispersed. And can you imagine that in a place which is very urbanized, how will you harness wind's energy? So wind is
Yes,
actually
ma'am.
very dispersed form of energy. There is a speed limitation with that, and the places which are urbanized, they have lot of buildings. So this is a natural barrier to the wind's velocity. So you have to have large open areas if you want to harness wind. So that is why it is the largest wind energy power plant is in Kanyakumari, because there are expansive land resources are there, and also it is
Yes,
surrounded by ocean.
yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, on the coastal areas.
Yeah. Okay, coming to now we can move to the non-renewable resources of energy. So obviously the first one to be discussed here would be fossil fuels. And fossil fuels, in fossil fuels also we have three types. We have coal, petroleum, and natural gas.
Natural gas.
Yeah. So how were these fossil fuels formed? You have, I hope all of you must be knowing this.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
can anyone explain how they
Yes,
were formed?
ma'am, these fossil fuels are on general formed by the trapping of carbon dioxide under the Earth's layer for and other.
Ma'am,
You were not.
it was. Excuse me, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Ma'am, the remains of plants and dead animals that
Yeah.
decomposed over the years. They form
Basically, due
fossil
So
to high
fuels.
Ma'am,
pressure
under
and
tremendous
temperature.
pressure and heat of the
yes,
environment
Yes,
of
yes,
ma'am.
the
high pressure
overlying
and
ocean.
temperature also. So actually what happened was, you know that our Earth's environment has changed tremendously since quite a lot of years. So in this process, many new gases came into the atmosphere, for example, oxygen, and you can say the atmosphere changed. And due to this change in the atmosphere, some of the species, so majorly plant species, they got extinct. So when they got extinct, their rate of death was more than their rate of decomposition. So now what happened, these extinct plants or animals, they kept on accumulating in the earth in layers, and the bacteria was not able to completely decompose it. So when they got trapped in high pressure and heat conditions, they transformed into fossil fuels. So this was the actual process of metamorphosis. So it is basically extinction of plants and animals and then their slow decomposition. So this actually led to the formation of fossil fuels, and this did not happen overnight. So this is a continuous process and it took many years. So more than 100 years this process continued, and due to this process now we have got what are being used as fossil fuels. So we are extracting these fossil fuels and we are obtaining energy out of it. So what is a limitation with these fossil fuels? So these are in limited supply. Natural processes, they form it, but still their rate of formation is very, very, very slow. So by the rate by which we are using it is extremely more, and it is formed in an extremely slow process. So that is the main reason that why our fossil fuels are being depleted. So this slide again depicts how fossil fuels are formed, and we have already discussed this, that when there was extinction of plant species, many plant and animal species, so they got buried in the earth's layers, and then over the over when heat and pressure acted upon them, then they got transformed into coal. So how oil was formed? Now oil was again formed due to a similar process wherein many aquatic organisms, they got buried in the earth's layers and then their decomposition was slow. The difference between uh, oil and other fossil fuels is that formation of oil occurred in the aquatic environment. So it was the heat and pressure which caused this formation of the oil, and these materials, these organisms were converted into a mixture of hydrocarbons, which we now call it as oil. Then coming to natural gas, so it is one of the simplest hydrocarbon, and it is majorly composed of methane, and it was again formed from the similar processes only, but one point to remember here is that it formed only at higher temperatures. Since it is a gas, so it requires higher temperatures to be formed, else the process of formation was similar. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So coming to the calorific value, then the calorific value is extremely high. So 13 kilocalories per gram. So biogas भी हमने पढ़ा था और उसका होता है 5,000 to 5,500 kilocalories per kg. So you can just compare the difference. Now coming to coal. So we have different varieties of coal, and it is due to the different environmental conditions in which the coal was formed. So coal is generally a black combustible solid composed mainly of carbon. So carbon is the major element. Then we have water and trace elements which were found in the earth's crust. So this was formed from ancient plants that lived millions of years ago. So coal के grade different हैं depending upon different environmental conditions. So mainly heat and temperature. And due to this difference in heat and temperature, we have a variation in the energy density of coal. So you have to remember this term, energy density. So what do you understand by energy density?
Energy per unit volume.
Yeah. So energy density is nothing but the heating value or the amount of energy that type of coal produces. So we have four types of coal. It is the first one is lignite, then we have subbituminous, then we have bituminous, and then anthracite. So ये four varieties of coal have been identified. So now coming to lignite coal. You can see in the picture, lignite coal is brownish black in color, and it is a soft, it has a soft and woody texture, and it is majorly moist. तो अब ये coal moist type का है, तो obviously its energy density will be low. So it has a lower energy density, and if we compare it with the other coals, so this is of not that good quality. So it is the lowest in the ranking, and its carbon content is also very less. But still, this type of coal is used in electric power plants. You have any doubt?
No,
Somebody was asking a yes.
no, ma'am, no doubt. Actually, I was just.
Okay. Okay. So this is a lignite coal. And then we have subbituminous coal. So it is a grade of coal which is between lignite and bituminous coal. It has lower energy density and a lower sulfur content. Now coming to the third variety, it is bituminous coal. It is high in sulfur content, and it is a very hard variety of coal, but still it is called soft coal. And you can see that here the texture is black, and it has dull bands over it. So it is high in sulfur, and its energy density is high as compared to both lignite and subbituminous. Since it has larger quantities of sulfur, so when this type of coal is burnt, it will produce environmental pollution. So it will release sulfur oxides into the air, and many of the electric power plants use bituminous coal because it has the high energy density. Coming to the last variety of coal, which is anthracite. So this is the hardcore and hard coal, and this is the best type of core if we compare it in terms of energy density. It has a very high carbon content. This is the best variety of coal, and you can see it has a kind of metallic luster to it. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
So coming to the carbon content in different kinds of coal, lignite we have 60 to 70% carbon, and that is why its energy density is the lowest. Then coming to anthracite, it is around 92 to 98%, and it has the highest energy density. Then bituminous we have 78 to 90, and subbituminous is 75 to 83%. And depending upon the carbon content, its calorific value is also varying. Again, anthracite has the highest, and then preceding by bituminous. Now we see the distribution of coal deposits. You can see that Asia has significant coal deposits. So as compared to Europe and America, it is also having much of the coal reserves. So that is why in India also we have coal reserves, and all these methods of extraction of coal have been worked out very well. So we now know that we now know methods for extraction of coal very well, and that is why it is being used as a conventional source of energy. So, although coal was used as a fuel for centuries, so not until 18th century did it begin to replace wood. So, until 18th century, wood was only being used as a dominant fuel in the world. So after that, coal came into picture, and then it had a significant impact on human history. So it was due to coal that we could just power our steam engines, and it was coal only that supplied the energy for industrial revolution. So coal has played a very, very important role in the development of the earth, in the development of human race. So that is why it is being used as a conventional energy resource. So today also coal is being used to produce electricity, and many of the industries, they use coal for steel production. So, and this is the reason why coal consumption has surged in recent years. So it is affecting our economy. So that is why it is really, really very important. Now coming to the coal reserves in our country, obviously these are unevenly distributed. We do not know where the plant cover was more or where the plant cover was less when it got buried. So obviously the resources would be unevenly distributed. But we can find the bulk reserves which are located in the states of Bihar, then we have West Bengal and Odisha. Central India also has some core reserves, so which is there in Madhya Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh. And coming to the quality of Indian coal, then it is not that good coal if we see it in terms of heat capacity. So it is majorly subbituminous to bituminous. And if we come to anthracite, then anthracite is found only exclusively in Jammu Kashmir in our country. And coal fields are located in Bokaro, then we have Raniganj, we have Godavari Valley. So all these places have coal fields in India. Coming to another resource of energy, so we have peat. So have you heard about peat moss?
Yes, ma'am.
So before that, I would like to discuss some of the advantages and disadvantages of coal. So I have not included that in the slides because it is a very general thing, and I think we can discuss it. So what do you think would be the advantages of coal?
High amount of energy in very small quantity.
Yes. So you can say that coal is very efficient as a source of energy. And then it is ready-made. You do not have
Easily
to do
available
anything. You
also.
just have to simply burn it. So you can say it is a ready-made, tried and tested type of a fuel. Then second advantage,
If it is readily available, means bulk में present होता है.
Maybe cheaper than.
it is very cheap to obtain. So you just have to mine it, और अब mining के methods तो वैसे भी बहुत ज़्यादा हमने improve कर लिए हैं. So you can easily obtain it, and then you can easily convert it into energy. And they have a high calorific value. Then they are easy to transport. And what are the disadvantages?
Some negative impact on environment.
Negative impact on
Some environment because it causes air pollution.
exactly. So air
Like acid
pollution
rain,
is the major. Yes,
global
Sharan?
warming, global warming as well as
Yeah,
acid rains are.
global warming, and you are forgetting the most what to say, the most common type of pollution, which is
Ma'am,
acid rain. एक तो air
ma'am,
pollution होगा ही होगा, साथ में when it rains
ma'am,
it will also lead to acid
it
rain.
causes several disease. It causes several lung disease in the mine workers.
Yeah, it is also when the people, those who mine coal, so they will also be having many diseases due to the process of mining which they undergo. And limited supply, so it will get depleted. So that is also a limitation. And then when we are mining coal, we are again putting a pressure on the land resources. So we are causing a destruction of wide areas of land. So that is another disadvantage. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So now coming to peat. What is peat? So do you know about mosses and ferns which grow in swampy areas, marshes? So what happen when they die? So they also get buried in the marshes. So what happens? Their rate of decomposition is also slow as compared to the biomass which is already dead present over there. So this is, so peat is just the soft organic material which consists of partly decayed plants. So these are mosses and ferns, which are found in the swampy areas. You can say, you can call that peat is the precursor of the coal. If you see the carbon content, then we have 55 to 60% of carbon in these, and their calorific value is 5400 kilocalories per gram. Now coming to oil. So we all know that oil was also formed in a similar process to how coal was formed. And oil is a thick yellow to black flammable liquid hydrocarbon mixture which was found in Earth's crust. So it was formed from the remains of ancient microscopic aquatic organisms. So you have to understand understand the difference between the oil and coal. So this is the major difference, that oil was formed due to the burying and decomposition of the aquatic organisms. So you have to refine coal before using it, and this is done in a refinery. So you can see I have incorporated a picture of refinery, and here you are just boiling the crude oil. So what will happen, the oil which has the lowest boiling point will rise to the top, and then likewise we will have different fractions of oil, different compartments of oils depending upon their boiling points. Okay, so you can see the highest quality of oil is forming the fuel with which we run our automobiles. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So oil is again contributing to the economy because it produces petrochemicals, and these compounds have diverse uses. So it is used in the manufacture of fertilizers, plastics, paints, pesticides, medicines, and synthetic fibers. So along with being used as fuel and being used as petrochemicals, so these have other diverse uses also. So we all know that petroleum can be considered as the lifeline of economy, be it at national level or at global level. And if we see the distribution, then 67% of total petroleum reserves are restricted to just 13 countries in the world. And these countries form Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, which is known as OPEC. And this is very well known that Saudi Arabia, it accounts for 25% of oil reserves. And coming to the Indian scenario, then in India, crude oil was first recovered in the northeast, and it was in Assam, and later on it was found in the valley of the northeast. And we also have some oil fields in Gujarat, and then we have also in Mumbai. And recently we could also locate oil fields in Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri and Mahanadi, the coast of these rivers. So after having these many oil resources also, we have to we have to import oil from the OPEC countries, so at higher rates. So that is why petroleum is defining the global economy, because it is a very important resource. You can see here how many different types of oils we can obtain from petroleum, and we can also obtain other lubricants and asphalt from it, so which is basically used in building the roads. So it is very important for the economy and development of the nation. Now coming to the third kind of fossil fuel, it is a natural gas, and it is obviously a mixture of energy-rich gaseous hydrocarbons. Primarily it is methane, but other gases are also present. So it is often found with the oil deposits in the Earth's crust. So what is the major defining or major governing factor in the natural gas? How it is formed? What is the major thing in natural gas?
Methane.
Huh?
Methane is
So
one.
prevalent high temperatures led to the formation of natural gas. Okay. So if we compare it, if we compare all the three fossil fuels, then natural gas is the cleanest source of energy. It burns with the blue flame. It does not produce smoke, and it has high calorific value. Since it is a gas, it can be transported easily. So it is, if we see the weight, then it is not that dense. We are using natural gas since time immemorial for domestic purposes. So not only domestic purposes, but also industrial purposes. So it is a very good energy resource. If we coming to its distribution, then about 40% of natural gas is restricted to Russia, followed by Iran and the US. In India, we have reserves of natural gas, and these are found in association with the oil fields. And we can see these reserves in Jaisalmer, Tripura, then offshore area of Mumbai. So in all these areas, these natural gas reserves are found. So now coming to now talking about some more aspects of natural gas. So we can use it for domestic purposes, and we can also transport it when we are converting it into a liquefied form. So this is known as liquefied petroleum gas, or the LPG. So it is a very important fuel if we see in terms of cooking. So majorly this is employed in cooking. So again, it is a very green source of energy. It does not produce much pollution and burns with the clear blue flame. Natural gas is also being used in generation of electricity, and it is also being used in transportation. So can you just name this How natural gas is used in transportation?
CNG.
CNG
In
used in
which,
tempos that
yeah.
Bade Vikram are now based on CNG.
What?
And that's company of tempos auto rickshaws.
Compressed
Like DTO
natural
buses
gas.
होता है ना, DTO buses have evolved, like they are using CNG except for petroleum and diesel. So they are just evolved in terms of fuels.
You are not clear, Sharan.
No, ma'am, I was just saying that the DTO buses also, like in Delhi also, DTO buses are just evolving in terms of usage of fuels, except for using petroleum and diesel, they are
In
using
fact, common men are
CNG.
also implanting that CNG cylinder in their small cars, such that they can save their money in petrol consumption.
Yeah, this is a very cheaper source of energy. So as compared to petrol, CNG is obviously a very what to say,
Clean and cheap.
budget-friendly source.
Pocket
Now
friendly,
and
pocket friendly.
yeah, budget-friendly, pocket-friendly. So what are the disadvantages? तो हमने बहुत सारे देख लिए. Now coming to the disadvantage. So this will be again coming upon density, that transportation would be difficult and it is highly inflammable. So we have to be very careful when we are transporting or storing it. So coming to its forms, so LPG we have already discussed. So majorly LPG has butane and you add ethyl mercaptan to it. Why do you add ethyl mercaptan to it?
To reduce the smell, I guess, to give specific smell to LPG gas.
To give a smell,
Ma'am, because
so
it
that
is
when the gas,
detectable, because it doesn't have any odor, so to make it
yes,
detectable and to um
so when there is a leakage you can easily identify it through this smell. So CNG we have CNG also we have already discussed, so it is a substitute to petrol and diesel, and again it is a cleaner fuel, cleaner for the environment. There will be no there will be no poisonous gases like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide and sulfur oxides if we use CNG as fuel, and again it is very cheaper. So this was with the fossil fuels which are being used as non-renewable energy resource. So I think we will start with the nuclear energy in the next class. If you have any doubts with the fossil fuels, then we can discuss. Anything which is left to be discussed or you think should have been added?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.